During Prime Minister's questions, Gordon Brown told the British Parliament he's made representations to the Chinese government on the ongoing violence in Tibet.
And I made it absolutely clear that there had to be an end to violence in Tibet, and I hope that all sides of the House will agree with that. I also called for constraint, and I called for an end to the violence by dialogue between the different parties. The Premier told me that, subject to two things that the Dalai Lama has already said, that he does not support the total independence of Tibet and that he renounces violence, that he would be prepared to enter into dialogue with the Dalai Lama.
On Iraq, he defended Britain's involvement there.
There is a democracy in Iraq as a result of the changes that have been brought about. Millions of children are getting the benefit of both education and vaccination and healthcare services as a result. We are rebuilding with the Iraqis the economy of Iraq. I don't believe he wants to go back to a situation where Saddam Hussein was in control of Iraq.
He then unveiled plans for Britain's new national security strategy.
New threats demand new approaches. A radically updated and much more coordinated approach is now required. For most of the last century, the main threat was unmistakable, a Cold War adversary. Today, the potential threats we face come from less predictable sources, both state and non-state. 20 years ago, the terrorist threat to Britain was principally that from the IRA. Now it comes from loosely affiliated global networks that threaten us and other nations across continents.
He said there would be more funding to combat terrorism.
We will be increasing yet again, this time by 10%, the resources for the Joint Terrorism Analysis Centre, which brings together 16 departments, including the police and intelligence agencies, and giving it a new focus on the longer-term challenge of investigating the path to violent extremism. I can also confirm that to meet future security needs, we've set aside funds to modernise our interception capability, that at GCHQ and in the Secret Intelligence Service we are developing new technical capabilities to root out terrorism, and that the new Centre for the Protection of National Infrastructure, which we set up last year, will provide a higher level of protection against internet-based threats.
There will also be a £600 million global fund to tackle climate change.
Climate change and competition for natural resources, where we're leading the way in arguing for a post-2012 international agreement, and for a new global fund to help developing countries mitigate and adapt to climate change, including in areas that are most under stress and therefore most likely to suffer instability as well as humanitarian disasters.
Britain believes its new strategy will help combat the security threats that come from a wide variety of sources.